As you put together your summer reading list, consider picking up a book written by a Texas author. May is Texas Writers Month, a time to promote and support literary talent across the Lone Star State. Welcome to the show, Amy Kelly with Lone Star Literary, Nick Shank with Third and Lamar, and Marika Flack with PR by the Book, with more on how they're each helping Texas authors spread the word about their books. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Oh, so glad to have you guys here. Okay, so Marika, I want to start with you. First, tell us a little bit about Texas Writers Month. When did it begin and what's its purpose?
Yes, so when I was a baby book publicist many decades ago, Texas Writers Month was really big all across the state. The purpose is to promote Texas writers and authors who have published books and really get out and support them. They work really hard to create these books, and we've got a lot of them in our big state.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and so at PR by the Book, we kind of lead the charge in promoting Texas Writers Month and gathered up our friends here in the Texas literary community and just get people to buy those books.
I love it. Okay, so let's talk about the literary community, right? Amy, you're part of that. So tell us a little bit about Lone Star Literary and how you ended up getting involved.
So I've been involved for about a year, and it is basically a hub for all things Texas literary. And so we support Texas authors, Texas independent bookstores, Texas publishers, and we really just try to get the word out about all of these different entities and the amazing stories that Texans are writing.
I love the focus on Texas because we are such a large state that we need somehow to, in some way, to break down everything. And like you said, there's so many books to be had and to know about. And so this is the perfect way to do it. Now, Nick, what ways do you help authors build awareness for their books and Third and Lamar, at Third and Lamar?
Yeah. So Third Lamar, we're an ad agency and production house based in Austin, and we work with authors, media, talent, and other businesses to tell their stories so that we can help grow their audiences, predominantly on social media, both organically and through paid campaigns.
That's awesome. Okay, so then let me ask you this. What advice would you give authors to promote their book using maybe video, and how has maybe the promotion changed over the years?
Sure. Great point. Video, first and foremost, is the #1 content type on social media. Every social media platform wants to keep users on their platforms the longest, and so they'll give video more impressions and more reach because it keeps people on their platforms longer. So it's important for authors, #1, to connect directly with their audience using video, be relatable, be personable. They're the face of their brand, so that nobody else can do that for them. I'd say #2 is done is better than perfect. So what I mean by that is a lot of authors might get caught up and think that every video needs to be super polished, high production value. And I think there's a time and a place for that, major announcements, book launches, but start with just day-to-day video, turning the camera back on yourself, do selfie-style videos. That can be super effective. The #3 thing for authors to consider is the why is just as important as the what.
Oh, okay.
Right? So they can tell people about the story, the characters, but it's just as important to talk about the motivation behind the book.
Okay, I
right?
like that.
Is there something important in their personal life that caused them to want to tell that story? And I think that can be relatable. That context can create a visceral reaction in their audience to make their book more memorable.
You know what? Those tips are actually really good, because what I heard from that is something that I think anyone from any industry can use, and that is to put yourself out there.
Yep.
Make sure that you're turning content, and sometimes it does not have to be perfect. Just get it out there, because listen, at this point, we all know we're not perfect, right? So just getting it out there and finding that relatability is what keeps people engaged. I like those tips. Now, Marika, tell us about some Texas authors that we should know, that we should have on our reading list. And we're starting with You Cannot Mess This Up by Amy Wineland Daughters.
Yes, we love Amy Daughters. And actually, we just recently got to work with her with Third and Lamar to create some special video for Texas Writers Month. She has a novel that you just mentioned, You Cannot Mess This Up. She also has a nonfiction book called Dear Dana. So she's a great Texas writer to follow.
Nice. Okay, and then let's talk a little bit about author Kristen Abello. And this one's a very personal story, actually, plus an app to pair with the book.
That's right. So her nonfiction book, Sunrise, came out a couple of years ago, and she's Houston-based, and she is developing an app for people who are coming out of a traumatic brain injury, And so they can use the app on a daily basis to help them recover.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Look at that. I love that literacy is evolving and just the way
Right.
that it connects with its audience. So that's
Right.
awesome. Okay, now if people want to get involved in any of the 3 organizations that we've talked about today, how can we go about doing that?
Well, there's going to be bookstores that will be doing Texas Writers Month events all across the state of Texas. Lone Star Literary does a great job of pointing to some of those, and we want our viewers here to go out and find another good book that's written by a Texas author and become a fan.
There you go indeed. Texas authors all the way. Put those ones first. All right, you can learn more by going to the websites listed on your screen. Thank you all so much for joining me and teaching me a little bit about Literacy Month. All right, happy Texas Writers Month to everyone out there.